Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, 10th of August, 2023. It's about 8 a.m. in London. I just want to check that the volume is working because it seems on the low side. So let me just check that first. Right, let's get back to it. Apologies for that false start there. Let me just get this going again and we'll get straight to it. Right, as I said, it's Thursday. It's 8 a.m. London time. My name's Anil. This presentation is for education and not investment advice. Usual disclaimer, make sure you take a few seconds to read it, understand it. Trading's risky. Make sure you know what you're doing. You've seen my previous webinar, so I won't run through this over and over again. We're going to do a little bit of market analysis, always open to requests. If you want me to look at a chart of anything, let me know. We'll also see what's coming up in terms of news announcements today, which might impact the markets, including important news coming out tomorrow, so we need to be aware of that. Plus, I'll do a quick run through of the Plus Zenfinex tools, which let me just double check. The free Plus Zenfinex tools, which very easy to access. They're absolutely free. Here's the domain. Go to it, register, and there will be some videos on how to use it. I'm going to show through a couple of tools here, which are the technical views and featured ideas, and we'll kind of have a quick skim through those. Very useful and free. So let's go straight to charts. This is what we are all waiting for. Right. On Tuesday, I covered gold at the request of one of our viewers, and I ran through some scenarios in terms of some support and resistance and such like things. Just bear with me for 1 second, please. All right, small technical hitch, which we are over now. As I said, we did some analysis on gold, particularly on the higher time frames. We did a top-down approach. We put in some weekly and daily support resistance levels in. Then we drill down to the normal channels that I draw. Those of you who watched my webinars before, same old thing over and over again, support resistance channels, breakout of consolidations. That's it. No indicators, no oscillators. This is how price moves. And if you can anticipate the moves, you've got an advantage, not only in terms of the actual trade, but also, areas where it could go to. So let's just have a breakdown of what we did on Tuesday and how it's kind of panned out pretty well. So I drew this consolidation area here. I did say, I think on Tuesday, that gold might be waiting for news to come out on tomorrow. We're going to look at that in a second and how that might impact it. It did have a breakout. We drew some of these lines up on Tuesday. It broke out of it, did exactly that, went back in, retested, and then it started way down. So we had, like if you'd have got in at the breakout from 25 to around 17. I had marked up this area here, which would have been a good target, first target, second target down here. So, trade's still in. we can go to break even, and we can start looking at how a breakdown of this level here will probably cause a continuation of the move. And in fact, it might even retest this one more time, but obviously everything is subject to the news that's coming out. So what's coming out in terms of news? Let's have a look at the Zenfinex tools. And this is, for those of you who don't know, this is the plus Zenfinex domain that I just gave you. It's got a number of cool tools in here: Signal Center, some sentiment indicators, some live videos. But I've mainly focused on the calendar because it's more immediate as far as I'm concerned. So we had some news come out from the UK. We're going to have a look at that and see how that impacted things. Let's see if it's, I wonder if this is correct. Just bear with me for a second. Let's just go back to the charts and have a quick look at the GBP and see what it did. So we've had a bit of a move from, again, and I'm going down to small time frame just to show the impact of the news that came out. So if I go back to the economic calendar on the plus tools, we can see, and we can look at the impact monitor. We can see quarter on quarter what impact the last time this piece of news came out, quarter by quarter, and what it did subsequently thereafter, 4 hours afterwards, or in the short term afterwards. So in this particular scenario, it moved down. Let's have a look. So that's the quarterly, year on year. Let's have a look at that one. So the last one again was in according to this May. So for some reason that doesn't look 100%. Let me just check this. Yeah, sorry, I must have been on the wrong thing here. Yeah, so we've got some inflation numbers coming out later on today. It's Thursday the 10th. Ignore the British pound thing. I think there was a small error in this for some reason. It's only just refreshed itself, but it has now reset. So clearly this afternoon, we're going to get some market moving news. It's expected that so the last number was 3%. It's expected to go up a little bit, even though previously it came down a little bit. So let's just have a look at previous numbers. So actual was, July 3%, forecast was 3.2. So it came in less. And if we look at what happened, the euro dollar moved up. June, it was forecasted to be 4.3. It came in a bit less. And now, again, they're forecasting it to be a little bit higher at 3.1. So we'll be watching that at 1:30 to see, what impact that had. So we got the year on year and the inflation rate month on month. That's expected to stay the same. And the jobless claims, there and thereabouts. Let's see what happened on jobless claims in August last week, August the 3rd. It was previously 221, went to 225, actually was slightly higher. So after initial pop-up, it came back down, and 4 hours afterwards, it came down and then started going up. So this is a really cool tool where you can do a little bit of research before the actual news comes out, because if you don't have this level of detail on your own platform, then it can be an advantage to look back in time, to look at how previous numbers affected price. You can go all the way back, this one goes all the way back to quite some time. Let's see how far it goes back to 2021. So we can actually look to see what happened then. And you can start building up a bit of a picture in terms of, what the expected was and what the forecast was. So if you look at the numbers in this top corner, the yellow is forecast, actual was lower, and the volatility. So there is some videos on our portal that show you how to use these, but it can kind of help you prepare for the news that's coming out this afternoon at 1:30 London time. You can see that, after the last 5 events, price changed, ended up bullish, basically. So the average range. So you can start building up a little bit of a picture to see how you're going to trade news. In fact, indeed, if you do trade news, right? So if you don't trade news, you step away, let the news play out, and then you can, decide thereafter. Again, if I go back to impact, 4 hours after jobless claims, it has this initial volatility, right? And then it started finding its direction, it even gapped up and then continued its direction. But for that first, hour, let's say, it went down. First 15 minutes, it went up. So it kind of highlights really clearly how volatility around news doesn't give you direction immediately. It's more of a shakeout of positions of traders who are either on one side or the other. And then after that settles down, so the news came out 1:30 here. It took a good hour for it to find a level before it started moving in the direction it wanted to. So again, come to this portal and, look at how, particularly when you have upcoming news, particularly when it's important news, do a little bit of research. So when the news does come out, you don't get yourself spiked out straight away. Of course, some people trade these initial moves and load up knowing that it's probably going to, retrace, but not always. So it's a slightly different skill set trading the news or trading after the news. After the news meaning, once the price is settled down, and then trying to find a direction based upon that news. So it's a very useful tool. I'm not going to do too much analysis unless there's any requests. And I'm going to keep this short today because I've been asked to sort of keep these short and succinct. So we've looked at the upcoming news this afternoon. We've looked at how to analyze it and how to prepare for the news. And we had a look at gold. Let's go back to gold. Looked at British pound. So the news has obviously had a positive effect on the pound against the US dollar. Okay, I think I'm going to call it a day. There's no questions, so I'm going to call it a day today. Thank you for attending, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.